What's up, everybody? My Knife Guy, Cutco Mike here. 20 years in the business, over 30,000 customer orders. I'm very honored to be called your Cutco rep, or maybe if you've been watching me or you just stumbled upon this video, I'd love to earn your business or at least help you decide if Cutco is the best product for you. And if you already own Cutco and if you already bought from me, you know it is an amazing investment. So this video is going to be all about the complaints. The stuff that no one wants to talk about, the stuff that maybe you don't know about, but we're going to bring it to you here raw. We're going to bring it to you real. We're going to bring it to you just transparent. And most people appreciate that. And if you actually learn the whys and the hows and the what ifs and the kind of the mindset behind things, you might just realize, you know what? He's right. Or, hey, I trust this guy. Or, I like this guy. So you might see my shirt here. I am from St. Louis. We live on the Illinois side of St. Louis, but Iowans do it butter, right? If you watch my videos, you know I love some butter on my Cutco cookware and my steaks and pretty much everything. I think God's gift to us is grade A unsalted butter. But Iowa, I love you. I love all my customers. If you didn't know this, I have a customer in every state. Even in the North Pole of Alaska, we have a customer who owns the ultimate set, the full cookware set, and the full flatware set. So a full Cutco kitchen is up in the North Pole of Alaska, and it's not Santa Claus. And we even have customers overseas on military bases. So let's dive in and tell you the top 10 most complained about Cutco things. Let's go, baby. First and foremost, it's always going to be the price, right? When you hear a price of $100 for a knife or $250+ for a K-bar or a cleaver, or $140 for some shears. We are in 2024, so if you're watching this video 5-10 years after that, the product will probably be more expensive than that price. When I first started, the super shears were like 69 bucks, and there was a small shipping fee and tax. And now we include shipping on our customer residential orders for free, but they've almost doubled in price over 20 years. So here's what I know. Cutco will never be proud of being cheap, right? We are not proud of being middle tier or middle quality or in a store. We are proud of this right here. And every box made in the US of A, made by Union Steelworkers of America. So if you're going, yes, Mike, you're right, Cutco is expensive. I always say this, it's priceless. It is forever. It is a legacy. It's an heirloom. It's something that you can pass on to your children, to their children, to their children. You know, being someone who's serviced, you know, millions of people over my 20 years, I've seen people get Cutco from auctions, from their realtor, from their boss, at an estate sale, finding it at Goodwill or Salvation Army. And even maybe you're somebody who's like, I'm only going to buy Cutco because it's cheaper on eBay. I do have a Cutco Mike best price guarantee on brand new stuff where I will promise you I will give you brand new Cutco factory direct for cheaper than you find on eBay if it's new. But if you're like, hey, I'm just going to buy old refurbished Cutco and send it in because it's 60-80% off or on the dollar, depending on what kind of deal you find or what auction you're in, you know, price is always going to be the thing, right? That makes Cutco either something you jump on or you wait on, right? So one thing I will say, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, right? When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. So if you're thinking Cutco, tomorrow it won't be cheaper. Next year it won't be cheaper. The year after that it won't be cheaper. So when you're making a decision on price, try to think of a couple things. Can you afford it, right? And if you can, then do it, because you'll never look back on buying quality. When you buy quality, it might sting a little bit. It might feel like, man, what the heck did we do? But you'll always appreciate it working, right? I always say buying cheap twice is expensive. And when you buy quality, you're getting American made, you're getting a forever guarantee. When you're buying Cutco, you're also getting you know, a local rep to service and stand behind the product, which would be me. Even if you live in another state, you're getting the forever replacements if something melted, chipped, cracked, broke. So when you're buying Cutco, obviously try to find a rep that's willing to maybe throw in a bonus gift or two or wheel and deal with you like I do, or maybe try to find a sale, right? You know, there's always a sale on Cutco if you're a follower of me. I do monthly deals, I do monthly giveaways, I do birthdays for every single one of my kids, myself, my wife, deals. I honor, past deals. If somebody's like, hey, I missed this deal and I really regretted it. If you're thinking about buying Cutco, I would love to win your business, or I would love to win your trust with some form of promotion deal, or, just honest, hey, this is what it is. This is the best I can do. Here's my Cutco mic promotion. So I know that's a complaint, but if you can look past that, there is a lot of what I would say light at the end of the tunnel, right? And always take advantage of the Easy Pay. We have this thing called the Easy Pay where Cutco doesn't run your credit check, doesn't do a background check, doesn't charge any finance fees, just a one-time setup fee of like $6 to $18. And we can split your order up into 2, 3, 5, and if it's a bigger business gift order, over 6 months, no interest. All right. Number 2 is Cutco is either too sharp or too dull. When I hear the thing too sharp, it's usually somebody who's not used to a really, really sharp Cutco knife, and they end up cutting themselves. Unfortunately, that does happen. I do send Band-Aids with my thank you cards, but too sharp, in my opinion, is a good thing, right? But there is people that maybe is on blood thinners, or they give it to their parents who don't know how to handle a knife, and they get themselves, and maybe they have to get a couple stitches. So the far as the complaint of too sharp, there is a lot of studies and science that says a sharp knife is a heck of a lot safer than a dull knife. So we are proud to be the world's finest and the world's sharpest kitchen knives. It's actually been featured on the History Channel Modern Marvels, and they've tested it against German knives, Japanese knives, samurai swords they've even compared us to. So as far as like the complaint number 2, being too sharp, we do hear that a lot. So if you're kind of wondering, hey, how can I get around that? We do make protective sheaths. I used to say this as a joke. We would throw in a metal, one of those gloves, like an armored glove, and somebody said, hey, where's my metal armored glove on an order? And I bit my tongue, so I stopped saying that as a joke. But if you do need a metal glove, or they make these little things that protect your hands and knuckles, or you can save the Band-Aids that I send you, or invest into, Band-Aid stock. We do once in a while run into this. My paring knife or my chef knife is dull, and it's only been a year or two. So what causes a knife to dull is how you store it, what you cut on, and what are you cutting. So if you don't have your knife in a protective sheath, or a protective, wood block, or a tray, or something where the blades are not just banging and banging around each other in the drawer, that could be a reason why your knife is getting dull faster. Number 2, if you cut on glass, granite, plates, formica, anything hard, you can take a brand new Cutco knife, and just one swipe on glass will dull it 50%. 2 swipes on glass, you almost have a completely dull Cutco knife. And that goes for any type of edge, any type of knife out there. So make sure you're using like a plastic board. Cutco makes a great product. We make these polypropylene resin-based boards. We also use booze boards in our house. Those are the 2 things I would really recommend. So if your paring knife or chef knife turns out to be too dull, it is usually the 3rd thing. Somebody's using a paring knife or a chef knife to cut a tomato, and you typically want a serrated or a Cutco double D edge to cut something like a tomato. So using it for the wrong job or the wrong task. So having a guy like me, or being on my Facebook group, or watching my Instagram and my updates and my emails, is a great way to learn about the different uses for different knives. All right, number 3, we call it surface rust or surface pitting. Once in a while, I'll get somebody that says, Mike, I thought these were dishwasher safe. So we pride ourselves in being dishwasher friendly. So dishwasher friendly means we can put them right there in that dishwasher. But once in a while, certain detergents, what we found is detergents, not to call anybody out, but like a Cascade in the little packs that you get in bulk from Sam's Club or Costco or online, there's something in there that when that pod explodes, it cakes to the steel, and Cutco has like a mirror finish steel. And if there's something like mayonnaise based or dairy based, sauces or leftovers on your plates, it'll spot and stay on the blade. And sometimes it looks like rust, but 9 out of 10 times, if you have Barkeeper's Friend, you can pour it on there and take a little bit of a scrubber or abrasive, and it will come right off. So don't panic. It looks like rust, feels like rust, but it's called surface rust or surface spotting, and 9 out of 10 times it can be removed with the little Barkeeper's Friend, and this is great to have in your home, whether you have Cutco or not. Once in a while, if you have really, really a lot of mayonnaise being eaten in your home, this little spatula could get these little dots on there, and those are actually called pits. And because this is a mere finish, and if you use a lot of mayonnaise, there's something in mayonnaise, I don't know what it is, that causes this to spot or pit. The good news is, even though it's a complaint, we can replace it. So if you're my customer or you're watching this and you want to be doing business with me, message me and I'll help you get a replacement on that. So if that ever happens to you, or you're watching your knives and looking at your knives, you go, yeah, there's a little spot on there. Sometimes it's a water spot. Sometimes it's a little mayonnaise spot. Sometimes it's just a little bit of food left on there and you need to scrub it off. But that would be a complaint I do hear over my 20 years. You know, maybe once a month for like one item, usually being the spatula spreader. All right, number 4 is the handle can be slippery, or it can actually sit up. So if you almost have to do it purposely. But you know, when you put your knife down, most of the time people put their knife down like that. But if you accidentally hit it up like that, the way that Cutco Double D Edge was made, and the famous Double D Edge was made to fit your hand, any size hand, right, left, big or small. So I would say 99% of people absolutely love our handle. I think it is one of the greatest features on the Cutco. But there's just one defect and one complaint that you have to be careful of. And maybe you've learned the hard way if you're watching this. Maybe you're just like, Mike, hey, I appreciate the good tip. When you put it down like that, it can sometimes stick up and the blade is exposed. So if you're washing your stuff or you're in a quick rush, just make sure you try to put your knife down like that. I do hear this once in a while, the handles can be slippery. The big benefit of Cutco handles is they last forever. They are built like a tank. They can be repolished and reshined and rebuffed. But if you have like pulled pork and you got something real greasy, it might be a little slippery. If your hands are slimy or wet, it can be a little slippery. And I'm not to the point where it's gonna like fly out of your hand, but where if you want that real good grip, obviously cook and clean and prep with dry hands. So if you do run into that, there's nothing we can do, because the benefit of owning a Cutco knife is the longevity and the forever service and the forever polish and the buff on the handle that will be in your home and in your kitchen, you know, for decades. But if you're gonna be somebody who's like, I'm doing a ton of pulled pork, or I'm doing something real greasy or real slimy or real bloody, you might just wanna make sure you got a little paper towel or a little rag where you can keep your hands dry. And it's not gonna be to the point where you're gonna get hurt. You just might go, wow, I can't get a really strong grip on it. And that's, you know, like I said, it's a rare complaint, but it does happen. All right, number 5 is the wood blocks cost, the wood blocks look, and the wood blocks size and stains. So here's what Cutco is known for: being a business of cutlery sales in America for 75 years. And we get that wood from Amish sawmills in Western New York. And if you've ever priced out Amish furniture or Amish anything, you know they're not cheap. So our wood blocks will last and last and last. So as far as the cost goes, try to look at it as a garage or a, you know, a protective showcase for your main investment for your kitchen. And I will say, if you can buy the block with a knife set, it's always cheaper. If you can buy the block with an upgrade, it's always cheaper. So buying a block just straight up can be a little scary when you see a $200 to $500 price on a block. So if you're thinking about a bigger block, reach out to me and I'll show you some of our upgrade specials. The blocks look, you know, Cutco is, we're kind of like, I would say, old school in a way. We don't like to change unless we know it's gonna, you know, be a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades or 5 decades of impact. So I will say this, you know, we are not, you know, making Tesla looking blocks, right? You know, we don't offer a black block or a stainless steel block. So the only downfall is we do offer the honey and the cherry stain. And I will say 9 out of 10 times they do go and complement any kitchen or any backsplash, but it's not that hard to restain them. So if you're like, Mike, I really love Cutco, but I just don't love the look of the block, take a real light sandpaper grit and then obviously, you know, clean it with some of that, forget what they call it, but then you buy your stain that you like and you got a little $20, $30 project and your block matches the stain of your kitchen or the stain of, you know, or the color of your appliances. And then as far as the size goes, I know we got the beast behind me, one of these corners here. The size of that beast is actually the size of a sheet of paper. So it does look like a microwave coming at you, but if you can fit a size of a sheet of paper anywhere on your countertop or island, you can fit our biggest knife set. All right, number 6 is our can opener. So if you don't know this, Cutco had a all stainless steel can opener in the 50s and 60s, and I just picked one up on eBay, but I gave it away, and they still work. They're still collector's items. But when you have a moving part here and a forever guarantee, that could cause a defect or two. So the good news is we offer a forever guarantee. So if something happened, if it doesn't stand up to your Cutco standard, we can send it in and get it replaced over and over again. But the one complaint on this I get is that it can jump or skip or kind of chew up the can. And what I've learned is when you actually do your cans where your can is sitting down and you clasp it and you're pushing down, you're kind of putting too much force on these little kind of metal gears in a way. And it will actually kind of, jump and chew up a little bit. This is not all the time. It's very rare. It usually happens on the little tomato paste or the smaller cans. So what I found is when you clasp it, if you clasp it and you hold it up and then you do the can opening, it doesn't skip, jump, or grind or tear, okay? So if you have a can opener, or maybe you tried a can opener and you don't absolutely love it for whatever reason, you might have just got a small defect because there is a little motor on here that's moving. So usually the second time's a charm. And if you find that it's kind of skipping and kind of grinding, you might be just pushing too hard down on your can on the table. So try to clasp it and do your can in the air, and you should notice that it's a big difference. So number 7 is cookware lid sticking or getting sealed shut, or food sticking. So I'll do a real quick overview of our cookware. It's called 5-ply cookware. It cooks like kind of an oven, a pressure cooker, a crock pot, and an Instant Pot all in one. And when you put that lid on and you turn the heat off, after a couple minutes, it will lock itself shut. And many of you are my Cutco Mike followers, and you've experimented on cooking chili or a stew or a soup, and you turn your heat off and let it simmer or slow cook, and then you can't get the lid off. So it happens to the best of us, but here's the number one thing I will say. Always try to break a seal, because this lid will kind of create what we call as a vacuum seal to kind of preserve all the flavors and the juices and the nutrients. So if you're gonna low simmer or low cook it, crack the seal or use one of our metal utensils, and there'll be enough airflow through that little seal crack. If you happen to deal with what we call as a sealed lid, you turn the heat back on medium. You could even turn on a medium high, throw just a little bit of water around the rim, and then get 2 oven mitts, because it will be hot again. And then you want to kind of hold it nice and firm, and you're going to kind of twist and pull as much off as you can, and it will reopen and release the air. And number one thing never do is drill it or try to pry it with a knife. So as far as a complaint goes, I would say that's a complaint, but it usually draws a laugh, because once you get that lid off, whether it's a couple hours later or an hour later or a few minutes later or the next day, you realize your food is still warm and still delicious. The other thing we run into is people buy the stainless steel pans and they don't know how to use them. And they try to throw eggs on there or something on there, and they don't have it preheated. They don't have butter on there, and something sticks or burns. So it's caused by a few different things. One is you didn't preheat the pan. So if your complaint is stuff is sticking or burning, always preheat your pan for about 90 seconds to 2 to 3 minutes, and it'll warm up the coils perfectly. Because if you throw some food on there and it's not at the perfect temperature, it will stick, or it will kind of splatter, or it'll kind of just not cook perfectly. Second thing is always use a little bit of a oil or a little bit of butter. And that gives you a little bit of what we call as a base, and that base will prevent stuff from sticking to that stainless steel. And then the third tip is use our metal utensils. Those will be nice to get underneath the egg or underneath the steak or underneath the pancakes or underneath the burgers. So if you have more questions about Cutco cookware, or maybe you've tried stainless steel cookware and you didn't get the great experience that we promote, reach out to me and I'll send you some other videos, or go back on my kind of Cutco Mike following on YouTube, and then there's a lot of videos on there how to turn a stainless steel pan into a non-stick pan and how to clean them. Obviously, Barkeeper's Friend helps with that. All right, number 8 would be sending in knives for service. So when you do need service, having a rep like me or somebody local that you trust, know, and like, we put on sharpening events where we say, hey, bring the knives to us, we'll send them in for you. So that'll save you the hassle, it'll save you the shipping, it'll save you the paperwork. But if you don't have a rep, or you're somewhere living in the middle of Montana somewhere, we can have you go online, fill out a form, and then I could send you cardboard sheets, or you can make cardboard sheets out of cereal boxes. And the turnaround time is about 2 to 3 weeks. So I always tell people this, 2 to 3 weeks of short-term patience gets you another 5 to 7 years of really, really sharp knives. So a couple little tips on getting service from the factory. Always save the cardboard covers. If you do get a new order or a new set, or if you do send in your knives, just put them in a Ziploc somewhere, and it'll make it a lot easier to send in your knives. Or have a rep that you can know, like, and trust that can do it for you. Or just bite the bullet, So I would say, as far as a complaint, it's really not that big of a complaint, but it is something that people procrastinate on. So I will tell you, one of the greatest things that I love about Cutco is our factory service, because everything comes back fully polished, fully buffed, sharpened, and even replaced. And the minimal amount is $9 to $16 for today's prices. And that's for a total of 5 knives or less, up to 40 knives. So, and that's total, $16 you can send in your whole B set and have it come back like brand new. Number 9 would be pushy reps, or how to purchase Cutco. So pushy reps and pushy people do exist. That's why salespeople get a bad name or a bad rap. And I deal with so much cleanup. People are texting me, messaging me, emailing me, Mike, my Cutco guy doesn't call me back. My Cutco rep doesn't respond for, days on end. I will say this, if you deal with somebody who's called a career sales professional, we do take our business very serious, because this is our career and we are professionals. So if you've dealt with a pushy rep, give Cutco a second chance, or give me your second chance, because I will say this, I've been there before. I probably at one point in my career was that pushy rep, but what I've learned is people like to buy, and they like to buy where it's simple, easy, fast, and transparent and honest. So, I can't speak for everybody, but we are all humans. So Jesus said it best, forgive those who do not know what they do, and love, your neighbor, even if, you don't agree with them. So I will say this, that does happen, but dealing with career people like myself, or people you see at the fairs or festivals, those are usually your top tier reps. And if you do not have one, I would love to be yours, or you can find somebody that you like better than me, or maybe local. And then as far as purchasing goes, if you're watching this today, there's so many ways to buy Cutco. But when I first started, it was like in-home and in-home only. There was no website, there was no emails, there was no text, there was no fairs and shows, there was no Cutco at Costco, there was no Cutco stores and service centers, there was no Cutco hotel events. So I would say you guys are very blessed, because you can buy Cutco so many different ways. And I do plan on doing a video of explaining all the different ways you can buy Cutco. But I will say this, you can text me 314-541-4471. I am known to be very fast with my response time. You can email me, cutcomiked@gmail, or myknifeguy@gmail. You can go right on my website, and there's a contact me button. You can just go right on my website and buy, and usually I have some form of deal or promotion going on. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. And then obviously you can access Cutco's corporate website. You can access Cutco at Costco. And if you're wondering if Costco is the best place to buy Cutco, I made a video a few years ago that I've earned probably about 80 to 90% of people's business who've watched that video. So it's a great video of walking through the differences. Number 10, and the final thing that I would say would be a complaint, is the old nostalgia of a pyramid scheme, right? So Cutco has been around for 75 years. I would almost say the product is pretty close to perfect. Jesus is really the only thing that's perfect in this world, but the product has very few complaints. I mean, I had a hard time just coming up with 10 things here today, and those are, I would say, the biggest and the only complaints that really happen. But we still run into this. Well, that's a pyramid scheme. You guys just recruit people or recruit kids and just have them sell to their parents and their grandparents, and I don't like supporting them. So let me just kind of make some facts known. Cutco is a direct sales company, so we're all 1099s, and we get paid off of what we do and the work that we do. None of our income is dependent on anybody below us. There is some bonuses and incentives if you mentor or coach or manage a team, but that is not a pyramid scheme. That is not what you would think is, hey, let me get 500 people to buy a knife, and then I encourage them to sell a knife to somebody, and then encourage them to sell a knife to somebody else. So I will say this, There is managers, there is people, there is humans, and I can't say everybody's perfect, but I will say the product, the company, Vector Marketing, Cutco Cutlery, myself, My Knife Guy, we take our business and our brands very seriously, you know, to the top of the food chain, A+ status, A+ service, A+ ratings. So if you think it's a pyramid scheme or you heard it's a pyramid scheme, it's usually because a rep tried it and they didn't make money, so they were gonna blame somebody, and it's easier to blame the manager or the product or the company than themselves. It's the same thing with school, it's the same thing with sports, it's the same thing with military, it's the same thing with music. If you don't practice, you don't put anything into it, you can't expect a lot out of it. So if you're wondering more about Cutco, Vector, 1099s, all that stuff, you know, independent contractors, I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. And number 11, a bonus tip. I would say the stuff that we don't sell or the stuff that we used to sell. You know, it is a complaint. You know, I wish we made a spaghetti ladle. I wish we had our old non-sharp Cutco dinner knives. You know, I wish we had our garlic press back. You know, I wish the pink scissors were available at all times. You know, right now for the month of February, we have the blue limited edition shears, and those will be gone after the end of the month. So a complaint that I hear is, we should make this. You know, Cutco should make a chainsaw. Cutco should make a car. Cutco should make a lawnmower. You know, Cutco should bring back this. So I have no control over that, except I do know this. If Cutco sells it or stops selling it or doesn't sell it, it's probably a real smart reason for that. Whether it's, you know, there was a defect or there's not enough market for it or it wouldn't be able to have a forever guarantee. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I would love to win your business or help you become a Cutco Mike customer and family member and friend. But for now, thanks for watching. God bless and have a knife day. Take care, everybody.